So I'm here today interviewing my parents. They're a married couple. So how'd you guys first meet?
We actually first met at a bar. There was a couple of bands playing. We both liked those bands. We happened to be there often, and we saw each other across the room and started dating soon thereafter.
Well, no, we became friends first.
Was it love at first? I guess it wasn't love at first sight now, right?
Love at first sight is a difficult thing to figure out, but obviously over time it grew into a marriage.
So how long have you guys been married for?
We will be married 20 years in May.
And how old were you when you met each other?
Oh, I was 23.
And I was just turning 20.
So the age differential, it's not an issue here, right?
No.
Back then it wasn't too much. We were both in college. So
Girls are more mature than boys.
So can you describe your courtship a little bit?
Our courtship, I guess, as Tammy said, we started being friendly, and then we started dating a little bit. So we became friends first, which was really important.
We hung out in a group and then started dating.
So what was the major factor in getting married?
Major factor in marriage. You develop a relationship of care, trust, and understanding.
And wanting to be with each other for the rest of your lives.
So can you describe to me a little bit about how you guys got engaged? How long, how it happened?
Our engagement was about 1.5 years, 2 years.
About 1.5 years.
And
you don't want to know where we got engaged.
No, I do.
We got engaged at the airport.
Actually, at the airport.
Wow.
Which was pretty neat. She was coming off a plane visiting New York. She was living in Florida for a while. And I proposed at the airport.
It's cute. He held up a sign. Tammy, will you marry me?
Now, how old were you guys when you got married?
Oh, I was almost 25.
And I was almost
28. So we dated there for almost 5 years.
Before you guys got married, was there anything specific you were looking for in a spouse?
Well, first, I think, is a friend and someone you could care for and someone you have a lot of things in common with.
Someone that you could trust and respect.
Okay, so when you're a kid, you always got visions of what marriage may be like. How is it living up to the expectations? What's it like?
It's a little bumps in the road. And
Is it what you thought it would be? Is it better? Is it worse?
Well, obviously, when you're younger, you're not as mature.
Naive, right?
And you're a little bit more naive, but the relationship changes over time. I think that's the biggest surprise that I've had.
And you could grow as a couple.
You grow together, and you fall more in love as you get older. Things get different when children are introduced and stresses become in there, but it's an interesting journey.
All right, so obviously, I'm one of your child. Do you have any other children that you have to take care of?
Actually, yes, we have another son.
2 children, yes.
So do they have a positive impact or a negative impact on your relationship?
On the relationship?
Between you two, yes.
Oh, it's definitely a positive impact because it brings you closer together.
But it does bring negativity when you're disciplining them and other factors come in effect. But you have to overcome that.
There's a lot of stress raising children, especially in this world that we live in these days. And there are also challenges, and the biggest thing as a parent you have to do for your children is give of yourself. You have to be totally unselfish and put them first.
So how important are money and marriage to you guys?
Money and marriage together. Well, money definitely makes things a little bit easier. If you're not struggling to put food on the table or a house over your head, it's a little bit easier. But it's really less important as you grow together as a couple, the money part. But if it was a problem,
if you have money issues, it creates stress and it puts a damper on the marriage.
So if you could give 2 young teens who are in love some advice, what advice would you give them?
2 young teens
who are thinking about marriage.
Oh.
But teenagers shouldn't be thinking
20 years old, 19. What would you say to them?
Well, first thing I would do is if you were not getting education or doing your job, put your focus in your education first or your employment. College isn't for everyone, but if you want to go out and be a professional, get your education, get your job situation, the relationship will go a long way if you can have both your feet on the ground before getting involved with another person.
If you could give a young married couple that's having marital issues, and they're thinking about divorce, what would you tell them? Would you tell them to have a divorce or not to?
A young married couple thinking about... No, definitely not. If you got married to that person, you showed love for them, and there was a reason you got married. you just don't walk away from the situation because it's getting a little difficult. You try to work through it, you communicate
You
it.
got to communicate, you got to work through the bad with the good and figure out where you should be.
You know, now that you guys have been living for a little longer than most young couples, you know, you've experienced more. So if you could go back and fix anything or change anything, what would you change?
Go back and change about the marriage. I probably would have waited a little bit longer. I was a little younger. Tammy was a little bit older.
My biological clock was ticking, so I wouldn't have changed anything.
But, you know, wisdom-wise, you learn. I could have learned a little bit more about myself, which would have made me a better husband going into the marriage than I would now. I was a little immature at my age, and giving the complexities of society, jumping right into marriage for me was a great thing. But now looking back, it would have been a little bit easier if I was personally more mature to develop the relationship a little bit better.
Okay, so what do you think the key is to a happy marriage?
Happy wife, happy life.
It's definitely important to keep the wife happy. You know, especially if there's children, they're the glue to the family. They keep everybody together. So keeping them happy and satisfied with being a mom and being a spouse is definitely really important. But the communication and talking about your feelings to each other is real important. You don't hold anything in, and tell each person how you feel and respect the other person's feelings. And even if you don't agree with their feelings, that their feelings, and respect them.
Sometimes you just have to give in just so there won't be a fight.
So, do you think a couple should live together before they get married?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think it depends on the age. If they're very young, it may make some sense for the couple to live together. Or if they're a little bit older, to live together. Again, the society is very complicated.
I don't think so, because like the thing is, once you live together and you see all these negative factors upon each other, it's easy to just walk away. When you're married, you wouldn't just walk away, you would work it out, just like we've been talking about.
All right, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.